I look forward to your call, Mr. Buffett, and I'll set you straight, sir. Hey, everybody. I'm Steve Green with Zoe Rachel, filling in for Bill Whittle this week, and Scott Ott on a thrilling right angle lightning round. That's right. 3 men, 5 headlines, no warning. No rules, no holds barred.
That's awesome.
You lie. Anyway, let's go right to it. Zoe, since you're in Bill's seat this week, I'm going to have you go first. New York City mayor and deputy mayor credit their success to abortions. New York City Mayor Eric Adams revealed that his teenage girlfriend had an abortion before, crediting the procedure with his professional success. Zoe, I guess the question I want to ask you is, when did we go from safe, legal, and rare to safe, legal, and awesome? Yeah.
Trying to cover myself from the lightning round, man. Does that help at all? Yeah,
like a Gallagher concert in here.
So that was the thing, wasn't it? Safe, legal, and rare. Yeah. Safe for who? I mean, because it definitely ain't safe for the kid. You can have that place can be as clean as all get out. That kid is still going to get butchered. Legal, it's never been legal. You can't deprive a person of their life without due process of law. I don't know what the kid did to be able to be deprived of that right, or to be even in court to be tried in the first place. No matter what, and that's one of the things. It's like, can y'all explain that to me? It's like, look, despite what has happened. And nobody here is going to say that, sexual assault is okay. Incest is okay. Ain't nobody here thinking anything like that is okay. It ain't. But you got to explain to me, how is it the kid's fault? So that really hasn't been explained to me yet. And then, what was it? Safe, legal, and rare. I don't know. The abortion industry, like $1 billion industry. That doesn't sound rare to me. So, I mean, at what point did this actually become quite the opposite? Oh man, Steve, we can look in this thing right here, and it'll tell us all about it. It's been going on for a long time, baby. It goes way back, and that's what the answer is. And it's one of the things that actually helps us to be able to stave it off. I mean, as I say before, this is earth, this isn't heaven. We're gonna have knuckleheads here, but if we want the heads up on how to push these things back. You're always you're gonna have your knuckleheads and stuff like that. People are gonna want to disobey, even if it's against the law. People are going to do things that are just against the law. We're just not supposed to make it legal for people to do things that are against the law.
Steve, can I throw in something here? If I understood you correctly, you're saying the mayor too, not just the vice mayor, right? The mayor says this? Yeah. Yeah. So the mayor saying this essentially said, thank goodness that nothing could stand in the way of my political ambitions. I mean, if I were a political cartoonist, I would have him standing on a podium that was made of an infant coffin as he gave the speech, because what a chauvinist pig thing to say. Thank goodness my girlfriend was able to get him, or wife, or whatever it was at the time. Thank goodness we were able to knock off that baby so that it didn't cut my chances down of getting elected mayor.
Yeah. And just to clarify Zoe's point about knuckleheads, some of my best friends are knuckleheads. Actually, me. Scott, let's go to you. CDC caught using false data to recommend kids vote COVID vaccine. I can't remember where I got this report, but this is a quote. When the data is annualized and only includes death where the virus was the underlying cause, COVID-19 does not rank as a leading cause of death for young children, unlike what the CDC said. For kids under 1 year old, it ranks 9th behind influenza, that's the regular old flu, and pneumonia, heart disease, and homicide. And you don't hear a whole lot about infants getting murdered. Accidents are about 25 times as likely to kill an infant than COVID-19, according to the CDC data. So, Scott, my question is, why lie?
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense. They're not suggesting that it was an innocent error, that somebody accidentally misinterpreted the data.
They massaged it.
The implication is here that yes. Well, and it's to even throw that out there, like when's the latest time you saw a headline that said, ninth leading cause of death sends panic through the population? Like, I'm not sure what the ninth leading cause of adult death is, but it probably doesn't have, it may be old age, like
fishing accidents.
Actually, that's right. Yeah. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. What bureaucrats do never makes a lot of sense to me. It's why you always, despite the fact that you need to have some way of doing general research that doesn't necessarily result in an immediately marketable product. And, I don't think putting it in the hands of government is the best way to get that done. I know that people think, well, that's the only way it's going to be fair. That's the only way it's going to be not just driven by greed, but there is greed in every job. Just because you're not making a profit on the sales of your product when you're working for government doesn't mean that there's not a currency that you use. And in that case, it's power, it's influence, it's longevity in the workplace of being able to keep your job or advance to a new level of job. And so you need checks and balances for everything. And more than anyone, we need some sort of checks and balances for that permanent government, so-called, that lives in government bureaucracy.
Yeah. So over to you. I love this one. Democrat who's been in Congress since 1983 goes after, and I quote, people in Washington. Ohio Democratic Congresswoman Marci Kaptur says she's fed up with people in Washington who care only about the coasts. She's been in Congress since 1983. I was 14 at the time, and votes in lockstep with her party's coastal elites. So we can expect Kaptur's resignation any moment now, can't we?
I suppose so. Or, maybe she'll become a part of cancel culture. Maybe they'll get to her first or whatnot. And, I tell you what, man, those coastal cities you get those people like packed in there like that. And I guess that's where people think that's what they're supposed to concentrate on. I guess they think that's where, the votes are going to be harvested, and they want to forget about all that flyover country. And, but hey, that's where everything is fashionable. Everything is stylish. Why not pay attention to those places? I mean, that's where all the influences are and all the influential language. And so, I mean, if she's tired of those places being, I guess, lofted up and having that effect, and it's weird. It's like, who has an effect on what? Is it Washington that has an effect on these places, or is it these places that have an effect on Washington? You got to pay attention to what the culture is doing, because that's the stuff that, determines on how stable your representation is going to be inside of Washington.
Do we take off and nuke the entire site from orbit? Understand it's the only way to be sure. All right, Scott, last one for you. ABC 15, this is a TV station down in Arizona. ABC 15's Melissa Blasius reports that the Arizona Capitol complex is now surrounded by 2 layers of fence with razor wire in between after 3 nights of mostly peaceful protests over abortion rights after the Dobbs decision. Mostly peaceful and barbed wire. Those go together real often.
Well, as soon as you said that, I thought, thank goodness it'll keep those criminals from escaping the Capitol building. This is, I'm assuming, because usually when you got razor wire, you're trying to keep somebody in, right? So I'm thinking this is a good thing. It's an advance. I don't know why such security measures are required when you have people who all they want to do is ensure that a woman gets good health care and has freedom of choice. But clearly the government officials understand the threat adequately so that they can protect themselves and protect the monuments and the ancient buildings that we revere. It's sad that this has gotten to the point where every major disagreement that pops up in this country involves some sort of physical altercation, and that we have to be concerned about violent groups. And it used to be, like during the civil rights movement, there were largely peaceful protests that some small groups of people would take advantage of to do some looting or breaking or violent acts. And then the Democratic police authorities in the South would make it look like they would try to play it like the whole group was violent, but it really wasn't. The violent people were the sheriffs with the dogs and the hoses. But it's really taken a turn for the worse when it comes to this kind of protest. And I look forward to the day when we can get back to a bunch of, gentle flower-carrying hippies who are chanting inane things and not really expecting to see any change, but taking the opportunity to get some good weed and have a nice time.
And really quick, I want to say for the record, this umbrella did not help me at all in the lightning round. You're going back to Walmart.
I'm sorry.
Oh, good. The tag's still on it. He can return it and get a full refund.
These things happen, unfortunately. All right, one more headline. I reserved it for me. Warren Buffett wants his entire $96 billion fortune spent within 10 years of his death, instead of creating one of these charitable trusts that just last forever and ever. And apparently he wants a bunch of checks cut for kids all over the world. And you know what, Mr. Buffett, I'm here to help you. Number one, why should you have to wait until you're dead to give all this money away? Yeah. Because you're not going to be able to see the fruits of your charitable giving. So just for your own sake, sir, let's get moving on this right now. And the second thing is, apparently you don't seem to realize children are not very bright. They're terribly irresponsible. You give a kid $5, $10, he's going to bike down to 7-Eleven. He's going to get a giant Slurpee and a couple of candy bars, and then your charity is done. Your charity comes down to Slurpees and candy bars. So instead of waiting until you're dead and cutting all these little checks to kids, just give it to me, and I will give it away very responsibly. I promise you. So I've got my phone. It's right here on my desk. I look forward to your call, Mr. Buffett, and I'll set you straight, sir. All right, that's your Right Angle Lightning Round, brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. A quick reminder that content like this needs sponsors like you. So if you aren't a member, we'd love to have you on board. Go to BillWhittle.com, become a member today, or heck, just make a one-time donation. Just throw $1 or $2 our way. It would sure help. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.